On this week's program, Dragons Beyond RPG says something beyond stupid. Rump DM shows the kind of humility that the BroSR is known for. Dying Breed jumps a shark with oddly shaped fins and too many fingers. And everybody tells on themselves in a desperate attempt to own each other. Welcome once again to Driving and Dragons. I'm Daniel, and this is our weekly exploration of the more moronic musings of the TTRPG space, intelligence as a dump stat. This week was a little hectic with a massive late-week blow-up between two well-known actors in the indie space that dominated much of the conversation and is the subject of Thursday's live stream, driving the conversation, AI art, pulp fiction, and TTRPGs. However, I'm only going to kind of touch on the edges of it here. There are some pieces that are relevant to it from the outside, but we're going to cover the topic itself in depth on Thursday because it requires some seriousness. While it is a bit of an elephant in the living room, intelligence as a dump stat is supposed to be fun, comical, and lighthearted, while that subject, namely the undisclosed use of artificial intelligence and art commissions, is a bit too serious for this series. I cannot thank my wonderful patrons and channel members enough for their continued support of our car restoration project. If you are a member or a patron on any paid level, please remember to vote on the poll to determine how we pick the person who will score a sweet ride one day in the future. Everyone else, thank you for taking the time to watch my content, and if you feel I've earned it, hit the hype and the like buttons, subscribe to the channel, and join the always lively conversation in the comment section. So let's kick things off with Dragons Beyond RPG. Dragons Beyond is apparently an OD&D retro clone. So the idiotic post made on their X account kinda tracks. After all, Ford saying that trucks that don't have a blue oval on the grill aren't real trucks is on brand and not really a surprise. However, in a fashion that mirrors the behavior of our favorite BroSR punchlines, Dragons Beyond's post that any RPG that doesn't use D4, D6, D8, D10, D12, and D20 isn't a real RPG is simply the kind of wrong that just has to be called out. Let's be real here. The games that use those particular dice aren't even the best by any objective mechanical measure, and their game is a 0E clone. It isn't even a clone of the finished version of Dungeons & Dragons. Dude pulled up to the mud ride in a four-wheel drive truck with no transfer case, talking about what makes a real truck. Let's be clear here, guys. D&D, in any edition, is the one-size-fits-all of game systems. And one-size-fits-all fits no one well. It is acceptable at most generic forms of TTRPG play, but it will never measure up to a system that is designed specifically for a genre and style of play. It's the vanilla of TTRPGs. It's good, but it's only your favorite flavor if you're boring or if you're a serial killer. Speaking of morons who spew old school D&D master race nonsense, Rump DM is back with more BroSR conceits. The Turd Murderer account had a lengthy and fairly insightful post about the AD&D rules and how the game was not promoted in the PvP forward style that the bros push. He stated that if read in that context, there are things that make sense, but that he doesn't really buy the idea that play was always intended to be presented in that manner. Well, Rump took this as an opportunity to remind everybody just how far up their own asses the BroSR had to get their heads in their quest to sniff the purest form of their own gastrointestinal gases. The BroSR's biggest contribution has been defining what actually is the AD&D playstyle described by the rules of the book, regardless of how people played the game in that era. That's it, folks. Nobody is right but the BroSR, including the actual designers and developers and publishers of the game. Nobody knew how to play D&D until Jeff Rowe came along and taught us all the correct stretches to fit our heads in the place where the BroSR develops its ideas. Have you ever seen something that has become a parody of itself? Rump DM is living proof that the bros were born to that reality. Dying Breed Tabletop had things to say about the AI controversy this week, much like we all did. But unlike most of the rest of us, what he had to say was evidence that his breed probably should die out, because we don't need IQs this low polluting the gene pool. Did you know that AI doesn't matter to anybody? That's what he says. Nobody cares. Because short-form, low-quality, mid-wit garbage content generated by AI exists all over TikTok and YouTube Shorts, that means that AI is really just a label used to attack people. Oh, it's okay for multinational evil corporations to use it, but not the little guy. Meanwhile, all the haters, I guess, used AI to post about AI. I mean, his rambling made absolutely no sense. And it also sounds like communist, anti-capitalist nonsense as well, but I repeat myself with the whole no sense thing. This is one of the tactics, folks. This is the game the dishonest and those who defend the dishonest play. When someone is challenged for lying about using AI, they don't actually address it. They build straw men, deflect, pettifog, and fill the conversation with non sequiturs. They do anything except address the actual topic of debate. Look at this guy. Allegedly, he is anti-woke, yet here he is whining that his friends get called out for being unethical, while lying that the big, bad, meanie corporations that drive the economy get free passes, because we never attacked WotC or Paizo or any other large publisher for using AI art and trying to lie about it. So I guess with Dying Breed, his brain is what was dying first. But what it really is that he's got a group of people that he's going to protect them no matter what they do, because he's loyal to them instead of being loyal to what's right. And that's a dangerous thing, folks. You need to always keep truth front and center, and Dying Breed is not doing this. It's an us versus them thing, and you can see the mental gymnastics that are being displayed here to get where he needs to be to make that work. To the point that he is doing all the same leftist victimhood mentality, corporation blaming, run and cry, hide, always offended nonsense that he gets with the Nerd Cognito crew on Saturdays and bitches and cries and mocks constantly. So, a little bit of hypocrisy there. And finally, we come to a general trend of stupidity that, much like Dying Breed's comment, exists in the margins of the big AI art disclosure war that's currently raging on X. There are a lot of groups and people that came out to defend the accused in this case. Many of them are proven bad actors. A lot of the other ones are just people who, unfortunately, I'm not going to just say they're bad judges of character, but we'll say that they've been fooled and they haven't seen the light yet. But many of them are proven bad actors. And what is hilarious is that they are telling on themselves and digging up more reasons to question the accused in the process. Like, I don't know, talking about how infighting is reprehensible on the same show where they made illegal AI porn of an artist's wife because they were mad at him. Or talking about integrity after using AI to artificially recreate somebody else's designs in order to undercut them on merch. Another favorite was a lot of people using AI detectors to try and prove that they are unreliable, but at the same time trying to use them to prove the innocence of the person in question. So it's like you're basically saying this tool is worthless, but you should trust what it says for us. Then they would turn around and post proof and unwittingly would post stuff that actually supports the opposite case. It includes all of the obvious signs and things that were predicted by what the other side said. They didn't support their case at all. I mean, there's nothing like coming to defend the honor and good name of someone while reminding everyone that you completely lack good character and are about as trustworthy as a 40-year-old on a Roblox server. And there's also nothing quite as good as the people who are just going to do mental gymnastics over their personal feelings when the facts are staring them straight in the face and just don't want to look at evidence. Now, on the other side, just to say it's fair, it's also kind of funny that some of the people who present what I would consider a fair position, and they moderate themselves when they bring their accusations, but then as the things get back and forth and more heated, then their more radical real position comes out. Not to get super political on this, but I'm going to use an obvious example. You see this a lot in the abortion debate. The hyper pro-abortion people come out and start talking about rape, incest, life of the mother. And if you walk up to them and you say, all right, that's less than 1% of all abortions, we're going to take that out of this discussion. Can we ban all the other ones? All of a sudden it's, well, no, we can't. We've got to have it all the way up till wherever they say. And that's the lie that tells the truth. You're not interested in rape, incest, life of the mother. You're just using that as something to try and moderate yourself to something everybody agrees with. There are a good number of people on the anti-AI side of this particular debate who started off having very reasonable positions about using it but disclosing it, or using it as a tool to help set things up as long as you don't lie about it and that sort of thing, who once the fists started flying went right back to the no, screw you, you absolutely can't be in any way trusted ever, you should be banished forever if you so much as ask Perplexity a question, which is also an asinine case that we'll get into on Thursday. But here's a pro tip, friends. If you're going to step up to run interference for someone, remember all the receipts floating around for your own previous transactions. Or just don't be a reprehensible person to start with. And here's another freebie tip that we all need to take into account. How much you like someone or dislike another should not be a determining factor in how you analyze evidence and facts in the situation. It is far better to have enemies who will admit when you are right than friends who will not admit when you're wrong. And the best friends are the ones who show up with BC headache powder for everyone. See you guys Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, where I get into a very exciting announcement, a very irritating drama, and the results of our poll.